I am an 83-year-old African American. Understand how a college friend of mine, her father, might come down the stairs of his home with the joyous announcement that he had just finished a terrific book that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that apes are superior to Negroes.
Okay, and so for this little short presentation, maybe a public service announcement that you're imagining, what would come next?
After which my sisters will sing with her Sunday singers, "How could anyone fail to notice you are anything but beautiful?"
And that's a song. Where does that song come from?
That song comes out of the women's liberation movement.
So in prior conversations, I've heard you talk about three kinds of justice: distributive justice, restorative justice, and creative justice.
Those are the three.
So my question to you, do you have any reflection? What accounts for this motivation to be an active participant in creating justice rather than spreading the pain?
I know, and certainly say someplace in this manuscript that one of the most influential factors in my upbringing was my mother, who really challenged all of us to make whatever sacrifices we had to, she never used that language, to demonstrate to whites that blacks were fully human beings who deserved respect. That foundation, I don't think ever got shaken. That's just a starting point for how I went about things. The option to strike out in anger has always been carefully controlled. I hardly allow myself to get mad.
There's an ongoing dialogue, struggle within all oppressed communities between dignified perseverance, which is both practical and spiritual, and I'm mad at hell, I'm not going to take this anymore. We're going to burn down the farm because that's the only way you're going to pay any attention. Due attention is paid when there is violent rebellion, when peaceful rebellion doesn't work. Your upbringing might have formed a approach to living that led naturally for you to line up this way with the movement. So one of the questions to ask is, have I experienced or witnessed violence? How did I cope with what I endured? How is the way I coped affecting my decisions whether to engage or avoid the struggle right now? People are making very personal decisions about whether to activate and engage and participate or be spectators.
And I'm not sure that there is a real consciousness about the decision that's involved in that. Well, I'm pretty sure there is not a real consciousness about decisions involved in that. So in a way, I mean, it sounds sort of simple-minded that my mother raised me to be a living example of the fully humanness of Africans, of Americans of African descent.
Buddies of Dr. King, who said we got to find somebody who we don't have to explain this to, guessed right. I mean, we get it, which is why I find the Jews who are colluding with dehumanizers to be traitors to our people. You're walking down the hall in jail and another inmate doesn't see you as a human being, sees you as almost white trash. Isn't that the same objectification? Yeah. Or is it different?
No, it's the same objectification. And it's the pain in the place I found myself in that I'm trying to capture. If, as a matter of fact, we as African Americans are fully human, and yet I receive the same sort of limited acceptance in the black community as I do in the white community, where do I go? What do I become? Who do I become? So that living on as I say, living on the edge of a precipice in which on one side is white, the other side is black, with no place to go, is part of the pain that I'm trying to capture in this story. I haven't articulated even for myself where it is I came out. I kept breathing. I managed to survive in one community or the other, but it was more than survival. I was feeling pretty good about myself. And I give enormous credit for that. Folks in both communities who dared to stick their neck out and say, I am fully human, and I believe in justice, and I will work for justice, no matter what it might cost. I just feel very inhibited all the time, so that as a survival mechanism, I learn to preserve my feelings, and think through before expressing feelings of any sort. I can't say that I was ever really conscious, felt anyway, that I was in a hostile environment, but somehow I knew that something wasn't right. And it's kind of universal stuff that is out there that I hope folks can envision and agree to work toward it. Basically captured by family, that we are a family.
You mentioned to me many times, growing up, you knew you were loved. So for you, connect family with love. That's not universal. I wish it were.
Yes, so do I.
But this gives you a strength and a resiliency that others struggle to find. For you, family and love are inseparable. I have seen you with family. So we were in a van, like an SUV, going from Montgomery to Selma. You were with your 4 grown children, singing in incredible harmonies and making wisecracks. You were not inhibited in the least because you were secure and free by family love. That's one word, by the way, right? I saw you in your 80th birthday celebration, along with a whole lot of other people. You were safe and trusting and secure in family love, and were not in the least bit inhibited.
That's true.
So I would suggest your inhibition is a form of resistance. It is reality related,